Hi friends, welcome to my channel Let's Talk Biology. I am here again with my new lecture about human heart. This lecture is going to be very helpful for those who always have difficulty in learning about the structure and the circulation of heart. So let's start our topic. As you can see, I have drawn here a very easy diagram of heart. First of all, you have to learn that where is heart located. Heart is present in our thoracic or the chest cavity. This is our chest cavity in which two organs are present, the pair of lungs and heart. This thoracic cavity have a rib cage. This rich cage gives protection to the heart as well as to the lungs. This thoracic or the chest cavity is separated by the abdominal region with the diaphragm. This diaphragm is cartilaginous in nature. Heart is present or enclosed in a rib cage. It is present just below the sternum or the chest bone. Here I have drawn a very rough diagram of sternum and the rib cage just to clear you that where heart is located. Heart is located just below this bone. This is the sternum or the chest bone, and this is the rib cage. This rib cage provides the protection to heart and lungs, both of them. And this is the diaphragm. This diaphragm separates this chest or the thoracic cavity with the abdominal cavity. Below the diaphragm there is abdominal organs are there. As you can see, the heart is enclosed in a membrane that is known as pericardium. Pericardium, you can say it is a membrane or it is a sac in which the heart is present. Pericardium has two layers, outer layer, this outer layer, and the inner layer that is very close to the heart. The outer layer is inelastic in nature, that prevent from overstretching and overfilling from the blood. That heart cannot overstretch. The outer pericardium prevent it. And in between these two layers there is fluid present. You can see I have shaded here. This fluid is known as pericardial fluid. This pericardial fluid prevents from friction. Heart, the organ of the heart is a muscular organ. It's a pumping organ. It just like a water motor present in our home that just pumps the water. It also pumps the blood to whole body, to whole parts of the body. The organ of the heart is made by three walls: epicardium, myocardium, and endocardium. Outer is epicardium, and middle layer is known as myocardium, and inner wall is known as endocardium. Epicardium is made by the serous membrane that provide the lubrication to the heart. The myocardium is entirely made by the cardiac muscles. Cardiac muscles are the tissue that help in movement. That's why our heart can pump always. And endocardium is made by the endothelial as well as connective tissues. As you can see in the diagram, that heart is divided into right side and the left side. The right and the left side is completely divided. There is a complete division between the right side of the heart and the left side of the heart. And you can also observe here that I have drawn 4 chambers. Heart is divided into 4 chambers. The upper 2 chambers are smaller chambers, and you can also observe they are thin walled. Their wall is thin. And the lower chambers are slightly bigger chamber, and they both have thick walled. If you compare both chambers, out of both, this chamber, this left lower chamber has more thick wall as compared to this right lower chamber. Now this diagram, you can observe the name of the chambers are here. This is the right side of the heart and this is the left side of the heart. Left and right both are completely separated. The upper chamber, collectively called as atria. Atria is a plural word. It means entrance. And when we calling them as a singular, that is known as atrium. This is the right atrium. This is the left atrium. And the lower chambers are known as ventricle. This is the right ventricle, and this is the left ventricle. Ventricle means sac or cavity. The both right both at, both right and the left atrium are divided by a wall. This wall is known as septum. Septum is a division that separated the right atrium with the left atrium. So this septum or this wall is known as interarterial. Inter means between. The between wall, septum means wall, the between wall present between the atria, that's why it is known as interarterial septum. And there is another septum, this septum present between the ventricles. Inter means between, interventricle septum. So it will be very easy to memorize when you know the meaning of the inter and when you know the meaning of the septum. Septum means wall. Wall means it separated both right and the left ventricle. So septum is present between the ventricle, that's why it is known as interventricle septum, and this is interarterial septum. In this diagram I am going to show you about the walls. That upper and the lower chamber both have a wall. Do you know what is the meaning of the wall? Wall is the flap or the folds of tissue, connective tissue mostly. Endocardium wall make the wall. These flap and the folds prevent the backflow. It means once the blood flow from the atrium to the ventricle, then these wall prevent the backflow. Then the blood cannot flow back to the atria or the atrium. So there are wall present. Don't become confused about the so much labeling. I'm just going to explain in a very easy manner. The wall present between the atrium and the ventricle, this is present in between it. So this wall is known as atrioventricular wall. Atrioventricular wall. This wall is also known as tricuspid. Cuspid means flap. When the wall has the three flap, that wall is known as tricuspid. And this wall and at the left side of the heart is also known as arterioventricular. This is the abbreviation of the arterioventricular. AV wall, arterioventricular wall, it is also called as the bicuspid. It means it has a two flap of or the two fold of tissue, connective tissue. That's why it is known as the bicuspid wall. These wall is present between the atrium and the ventricles. That's why they are known as atrioventricular wall. There is another pair of the wall. That wall is present in the ventricle sides. This wall is known as pulmonary semilunar wall. Semi means half, lunar means moon. It has a shape of half moon. That's why this wall is known as semilunar wall. This wall is present between the ventricle and the pulmonary semilunar wall present between the ventricle and the pulmonary trunk. This is the trunk that carries the blood towards the lungs. That's why this trunk or this vessel is known as the pulmonary trunk or the pulmonary vessel that carries the blood towards the lungs. So pulmonary is associated with the lungs. That's why this wall is known as semilunar wall because of the shape of the half moon. But it is pulmonary semilunar wall. And another wall is present between the ventricle and again there is a trunk. But this trunk carries blood to the body. So this is a big vessel known as aorta. This is the aorta, and it will again divide into many arteries that will carries the blood from the heart to the body. So this is the big artery, known as aorta. So this wall is also half moon in shape, though known as semilunar wall, but this semilunar wall is present between the ventricle and the aorta. So the wall is known as aortic wall, aortic semilunar wall. This is between the pulmonary circulation, or you can say the trunk or the vessel that carries the blood towards the lung. That's why this is known as the pulmonary semilunar wall, and this wall is present between the artery or the aorta and the ventricle. So this wall is known as the aortic semilunar wall. I hope you can now get the structure of the heart. I will tell you the circulation of the heart further. I hope today's lecture will be very helpful for you. If you find any query or difficulty, I will always here to explain you. In next lecture I will explain you the circulation of the heart. If you like this video, then share it and subscribe my channel. Thank you.